Hey, what's good? I know for a fact that most of us are tired of election season. Anything about elections, I am good and damn tired of that. One of the things that they talk about most during election season is the Electoral College. In this video, Vox is going to explain to us the Electoral College. While we watch that, I'm going to keep working on some textures for an animation that I'm doing. Before we get into it, remember to go to coconutjustice.com and get you some clothes that I think would look good on you. Let's go. All right, Vox, tell us what the chess game that is the Electoral College. Show us how that works.
If you watch the news during a presidential election, you'll hear a lot of this.
What do the national polls look like?
Hillary Clinton's nationally, Joe Biden is currently ahead.
But these national polls don't actually tell you who's going to win.
Throw the national polls out the window. They don't matter at all. What matters are those swing states.
Ah, yes, the swing states. Most democracies around the world elect their head of state with a popular vote, so whoever gets the most votes wins.
Usually.
But in America, we do it a little differently. The U.S. is the only country that picks its president using something called the Electoral College. It's made up of delegates from each U.S. state. When Americans vote for president, what they're actually voting for is who their state will vote for. This is why, every so often, someone wins the presidency without winning the popular vote. That's happened twice in just the past 20 years. The majority of Americans do not like the system, and haven't for a long time. Both political parties have made attempts to get rid of it. So why does the U.S. still use the Electoral College? And who actually benefits from it? The Electoral College is based on how people are represented in Congress, where each state has a number of representatives based on its population, and every state also gets 2 senators. So, for example, let's look at Texas, which has a huge population, and Vermont, which has a really small one. Texas has 36 representatives in Congress. Vermont only gets 1. Representatives in both states each represent roughly the same number of people. In the Electoral College, a state gets the same number of delegates as their congressional representatives, plus 2 for each senator. So Texas has 38 electoral votes, Vermont has 3. But this combination makes the number of people each delegate represents way different between states. In Texas, 1 electoral delegate represents 3 times the amount of people as 1 in Vermont. And that makes each individual person's vote in Vermont a lot more influential. The Electoral College creates discrepancies like this all over the country. A voter in Wyoming is worth 3.5 times as much as a voter in California. And the winner of the presidential election is the...
And as we've learned in previous videos, California kicks in to the federal government, funding the federal government way more than a lot of other places.
Who gets 270 or more of these Electoral College votes. These are the results of the 2016 election by state. You're probably more familiar with this version of it, a map of red states and blue states. But this chart tells a different story. You can see that no state is actually all red or all blue. But almost every state awards its electoral votes the same way. The candidate who gets the most votes in a state gets all its electoral votes. If they win the state by 1%, they win 100% of the electoral votes. In 2016, more than 4 million people voted for Donald Trump in California. In fact, more people voted for him there than in any other state except for 2. But
yeah, so for as much as people want to think that California is a liberal bastion and, you know, full of, what is it that you guys say, fruits and nuts and all kinds of goofy shit, we have a lot of Trumpers out here. We have a lot of very conservative people here. It just so happens that we have huge places like LA, like San Francisco, even Silicon Valley, kind of. What else? San Diego, you know. We have places where different colored people hang out, and then those cities tend to carry the state. There's people in California that want to split California in 2, and I want to say they want to call it I think the southern half of California would stay California, and the top half would be something. I forget what they want to call it. Whatever. Here we go.
Didn't matter. Hillary Clinton got more votes there, so she got all 55
she
of its
crushed.
electoral votes.
Yeah.
Clinton never even campaigned in California. Polling showed she'd easily win the state. Trump only visited Texas once. He knew he'd basically had that state's electoral votes locked. But they both visited Florida 35 or more times. That's because Florida is usually a swing state. Polls show that the vote there could swing to one party or another nearly every election.
Florida's full of a bunch of Latinos that are going to find out that what they voted for isn't exactly what they wanted. I laugh because for years I've been telling folks, you need to relax. You need to watch and see what happens. And look it, they voted for this and now everybody's getting kicked out.
Trump only won it in 2016 by 100,000 votes, out of more than 9 million. Swing states have changed over time thanks to shifting demographics and political views, and it's states like these where presidential candidates spend most of their time campaigning. It also means these states have way more influence over the election than these ones. A study found that voters in Michigan had 51 times the amount of influence on the 2016 election as someone from a state like Utah. Voters in states like California or Missouri mattered very little. Swing states are where the election actually takes place. They get the attention and the influence, and they only exist because of the Electoral College. It doesn't seem very fair, but the Electoral College has always shifted power away from some people and towards others. It was how it was designed. Back when there were just a few states, not 50, they had to get all the states to agree on the Constitution. One problem. The northern states, which were largely anti-slavery, wanted only free people to count in the population towards electoral votes, which they had more of. The pro-slavery southern states were worried that they would be constantly outvoted and wanted enslaved people to count in determining the population. As a compromise, they settled on something called the 3/5 Clause.
So pay attention to what they just said. It's not, they didn't abolish slavery because they're good people. They wanted to not even abolish it more than the people in the southern states knew that they were going to, kind of the same dynamic that's happening now. The people in the southern states knew that they're outnumbered, I guess. And so they're trying to rig it so they get, the outcome that they want, because now we know that if there's an outcome that they want or don't want, that they're going to attack the Capitol and climb on it like a bunch of monkeys, which is stupid. Stupid, like attacking the Capitol, one, because you're throwing a tantrum, and then two, it's fixed. My vote doesn't count the same as everyone else's. And then, not for anything, but people in these welfare states, they're mooching off of the system. And so then I don't think that it's fair that that their vote counts a little bit more than mine does. The economy here is kicking in way more than the economy that you guys have provided.
Established that an enslaved person would only count as 3/5 of a person. In 1800,
Or 3/5
Pennsylvania,
of a
a northern
vote.
state, and Virginia,
But
a
yeah.
southern one, had about the same number of free people living there. But Virginia was also home to hundreds of thousands of enslaved people who had no freedom, let alone a vote, and ended up with more votes in the Electoral College than Pennsylvania. That year, those extra electoral votes gave the candidate from Virginia just enough to win. Even after the U.S. finally abolished slavery,
I think, is Jefferson, is that the name of the state? I think so. It's either Jefferson or the people that want to split California in half. And you know what's funny too, now that we're on that topic, there's people in Illinois that want to split away from Chicago. I don't I don't get that. I don't get that at all. You guys are going to struggle.
and eventually gave Black Americans the right to vote, white Southern leaders found ways to keep them from voting, like with discriminating laws
Look
like
at
poll
that.
taxes
Cheating.
and acts of violence.
Cheating at the polls.
This meant
That's
they
not new.
continued to have overrepresentation in the Electoral College on behalf of a large population that couldn't vote. The first time Congress attempted to replace the Electoral College with a simple popular vote was back in 1816, but senators from southern states blocked it, saying it would be deeply injurious to them. In 1969, Congress came even
The
closer.
fix.
Replacing the Electoral College had support in both parties and even passed the House, but it was blocked again by Southern senators. A senator from Alabama wrote, "The Electoral College is one of the South's few remaining political safeguards. Let's keep it. Why change a system that historically had and still was benefiting white Southerners?" Today, the states that the Electoral College benefits have changed.
And it's still built that way. We're still doing that. and it's because people are afraid. A certain kind of person is afraid to not get their way. You know the ones, the tantrum throwers.
But it's still making some voters more powerful than others. If we look at the states with a lot of electoral votes for not a lot of people, and the states with a little electoral votes for a lot of people, these states are a lot wider and less diverse than the rest of America. And many of these states are Republican strongholds. These tend to vote Democratic. That's one reason the two most recent Republican presidents have won the Electoral College without winning the popular vote. And since it's currently Democrats that are primarily disadvantaged by the Electoral College, they're the ones leading the charge to replace it with a popular vote.
Get rid of the Electoral College and everybody.
But as politics have changed, the people most critical of the Electoral College have too. In the 1948 presidential election, New York ended up being the major swing state. A congressman from Texas said, "I have no objection to the Negro in Harlem voting, but I do resent the fact that his vote is worth 100 times as much as the vote of a white man in Texas." Swing states change. What doesn't is that the Electoral College gives certain people more power to pick the president. And its biggest defenders have always been those who benefit the most from it.
Yep. So we figured out that the Electoral College is a way that they fixed elections, and it worked so well that they kept it in place. And even though neither side likes it, when it benefits them, they want to leave it alone. When it doesn't benefit them, they want to abolish it, right? So it's fixed. The game is fixed. And then you get people in here who, they have relaxed morals, and then they know how to manipulate the system to then get elected. I'm not 100% sure when we as a nation are going to start to realize that there's some of this stuff that we need to change. And then that way, not a lot of people are going to get butthurt, because hopefully their vote will matter the same or hold the same amount of water as everybody else's. Like doing this and the gerrymandering and stuff like that, you're making a mockery of the system. And then when you tell people, oh, that elections are fixed and they're not fixed, yeah, they're fixed. The fact that we have a two-party system and nobody likes either one of those representatives that they're putting up there, that's fixed. The Electoral College is fixed. We need to fix it. First off, we need to fix education, so then that way people can learn and then be able to process information and then develop a better way of doing it, instead of being told what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it and who you're supposed to vote for. And all the people that we're voting for are lying to you anyway. This is all proof. It's all fixed. The people with the money are going to continue to win because the people without money don't have proper education. They're not even interacting with the political system, and they're just, they're just glad that they can get up and go to work. And not a lot of people are paying attention to how all of this stuff is just deteriorating what's supposed to be a democracy, the best democracy that we have ever had on this planet. And we're letting the greedy rich people destroy it. We need to change our mentality as a nation. We need to change our mentality. We need to get back to the us part of it. Us. It's not just you. It's not just rich people. It's not just poor people. It's everyone. We need to set people up for success. And if you are that kind of person that is threatened by people who are educated and can think through things, you need to step the hell away from the levers of power. Just that simple. It's not complicated. We got to get the people with the wrong mentality the hell out of office. If you are there to get rich on the stock market, you need to get the hell out. If you're not making it better for people, you got to get the hell out. That's your job. Your job is to set people up for success. And everyone in Washington is not doing their job. They're sitting around fighting and giving you guys a bunch of drama clips and stuff, trying to set everything up and set everyone up for a clip that you then see on the news, and it's a sideshow. And then you guys get mad at Hollywood because it's the same show, it's the same movie. They're not creating anything new. Neither is Washington. It's the same song. It's the same movie over and over again. Election after election. It's the same thing. And you guys aren't tired of that? But then you're going to get mad at Star Wars for saying the same story over and over again? Or Kung Fu Panda 28, 29, you know? I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with each and every one of your friends. And if you want to come hang out with me and watch videos while I work on creative projects, hit that subscribe button. And then on the little bell, set that to all so that every time I come out with something new, you'll be alerted. Don't forget to go to coconutjustice.com to get you some dope gear. And with that, I'm out.